Hello everybody, this is Chris and this is my channel, Born on 11970, and as always I am very grateful that you take the time to listen to what I have to say. I'm going to wait a minute or two obviously before people, when they start coming in, because obviously when I make a video I just decide when I have something worthy of speaking about. I just decide to make a video. I don't pre-plan it. I just basically just go from the gut. So as soon as a couple of people start realizing I have my live show, I will start talking about my topic. Now, obviously, if you are not part of my Google Plus page, you can ask questions or make statements if you want to. Most people choose not to, but you're more than welcome to join in if you want and ask questions. Just go to my Google Plus page and you will be able to see the live show there. Just click on it and you'll see on the right-hand side of the open window the ability to ask questions. And as you can see by the title of this video, it's called Boiling Point. Now, I am 45 years old, going to be 46 in November. And many of you who have been following me for years know that, back in 2011 and before that time, I was one of the quote-unquote willfully ignorant people, the sleeping masses, the ones that believed in government. Like, I believed in Obama. I believed in the system. I watched many conventions, followed politics a long time. And this is the first time I've ever seen such chaos, to the point where I think we are finally getting over that tipping point. And there's going to be some change coming because the people are starting to speak. And I've been watching a little bit. Like I said, I was going to watch both the Republican and the Democratic conventions because I am neither Democrat nor Republican. I don't want to limit myself to one ideal, and that is a perfect way to continue divide and conquer. Because if you're a Democrat, you're going to not like what any Republican says. And if you're a Republican, you're not going to like what any Democrat says, especially if you are a politician. So that limits the way you can think, which is a big mistake. That may have worked decades ago or centuries ago. That doesn't work today, at least in my opinion. So I choose to look at the whole entire picture and not just parts of it. Because how can you ever come up with a true solution if you only look at part of an equation? So with that being said, when I've been watching I've watched all of the Republican and the Democratic one. They talked about unity. The media was trying to portray the Republican Party as totally chaotic. And if you watch the Democratic convention, there is nothing but booze. Not completely. I mean, we're going to be fair. There's plenty of cheerers, obviously. You're going to have your cheerleaders. But there are people who are tired of this corrupt system, and they're starting to get their voices heard. And it interrupts speeches to the point where they couldn't really just continually read off the cue cards. And that's another thing that bothers me and should bother other people, is I understand why they have to do it, because most of them, if they spoke from their own heart and their own minds, 90% of the things that they read off a cue card would never have been spoken. But one of the reasons why I don't set up what I'm going to talk about is because I want to speak from the heart. So whether you agree with it or not, at least you know that's my point of view and not what somebody else wrote down for me to regurgitate to you. You notice that in education, in schools, what are they doing? They're regurgitating what somebody else told them to say. That's just passing along information. It could be right information, it could be wrong information, it could be truthful information, it could be lying information. You'll never know because you're just regurgitating what somebody else has told you instead of experiencing things for yourself. And some of the best teachers I ever had in my experience were the ones that went off the cuff and the ones that spoke from their heart and not some scripted program. But you notice, and my wife made a very good observation, she asked me the question of why are there prayers and religious, like priests or rabbis, going to these conventions? And I said, honestly, it's because it shows that religion and politics are in bed together. Because if you think about the irony of this all, at this point, I could safely assume that most people at least partially realize that all politicians are corruptible. They base a lot of their decisions by pandering to the audience that they're with, changing their ideas, flip-flopping, depending on what state they're in and what county and what district. And many of them are bought and sold. Well, religion is supposed to teach about unity and fairness and honesty and trust and love. And yet, on both sides, you will have priests, rabbis, other religious people praying for these people. Instead of saying, I cannot promote your evil. I cannot promote your dishonesty. See the hypocrisy? And even the priests and rabbis, they're reading off of cue cards. Where is the speaking from the heart? Now, I am never going to suggest that I have the solution for everything, but I am not scripted. I will never have somebody write down what I need to say. And I'm sure there are plenty of people that can help me to say things a lot better than the way I do. But then that's not me. So think about any politician, Democrat, Republican, independent. They're always paying other people to say things so it goes out so perfect to pander to you and your specific agenda that it is no longer sincerity. They're not fighting for you. They're fighting for your district to get your vote, which ultimately doesn't change anything. And I'll give you some common sense examples. And this is something no politician, no media will ever talk about, and that's common sense. Let's hit one of the Democrats' plans. One of their plans is to try and raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, which that sounds great, right? If you're a worker, who wouldn't love more money? Sounds like a great idea, right? And people will wave their flags and they will cheer. Well, let me show you from a business perspective of how that's a non-workable dream. Let's say you own a small business. You own, let's say, a mom and pop store where you sell just generic gadgets. And with all the regulations and all the fees and all the taxes and all the electric bills and all the equipment and everything else, it's bleeding your savings dry. And you start getting to the point, though, that you need help to make your business grow. Paying a minimum wage for somebody that anybody can do the job. Let's say you're looking to hire somebody to stock the shelves. Now, you don't need a PhD in quantum mechanics to stock shelves. Anybody can do it. All you need is the ability to stand and arms to reach. There's not much requirement. If you pay somebody that price, $15 an hour to do minimum wage work, you are going to have to, you're not going to absorb those costs. What are you going to do? You are going to raise the price of your product. And most people think, oh, well, that's just a small mom and pop store. Okay, let's go to a major company that most people are familiar with. Let's go to somebody like McDonald's or Walmart. Again, I'm speaking entry-level positions. There's a reason why McDonald's and Walmart hire a lot of high school kids, because you don't need major education to do what they ask you to do. Working a cash register takes minimal effort. Taking a bucket of fries, putting it in a basket, and dipping it into a machine that all you have to do is press the button, it'll tell you when it's ready, and registers that basically have pictures of the things that you're trying to sell. You don't need to go 4 years to college to learn how to do these things. So if McDonald's, Walmart, and other businesses all of a sudden have to pay probably almost, I don't even know what the minimum wage is at this point, because I don't have a minimum wage job. But let's assume it's close to double, if not more. Do you think McDonald's and Walmart are just going to absorb those prices of the costs that they'd have to pay for hundreds of thousands of employees? So your dollar menus that most of you love are going to no longer exist. The prices for your Happy Meals are not going to make you happy. The discount and specials you see on the Walmart shelves will be gone. And they will transfer that cost to the consumer. So yes, you will make more money, but then you will have to spend more money. Your rents will be higher, your electricity bills will be higher, Your food will be higher. Your entertainment will be more expensive. And it will cost average even out. But they won't talk about that. They want to talk about, oh, we're going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And again, it sounds great. But they want to feed you this pile of dog manure that it's filled with sugar and filled with caramel and filled with chocolate. And if you put enough of that on it, you'll never know there's dog manure in the center. They only want to point out specific parts. And I'll go for both sides. Like I said the other day, and because when I do inspirational videos, most people don't pay attention because they don't want to have inspirational videos or real videos. They want drama and fear. Let's talk about, for example, Donald Trump. He's talking about how he's going to change everything. He's going to go in, if he becomes president, he's going to stand there and change everything. Well, if that was true, then that would make him a dictator, wouldn't it? Because last time I checked, for the United States of America, the process for it to work, doesn't a president have to first create a bill, which first has to go to the House of Representatives, where it has to have 2/3 majority vote to get to the next level, which is the Senate, which again needs 2/3 majority vote. So right now I saw a video earlier where Donald Trump was talking to the VA, the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And of course he's pandering to him, saying, oh, the people that serve our country are the best people in the world. Well, I guarantee you, if they go to some other place, he's gonna say they're the best people in the world. You got to make sure they wave their flags. You got to get their attention. And you notice how he continually calls Hillary Clinton Crooked Hillary, because he wants that stuck in your head, so you will start to regurgitate it, and you will see other people that'll make videos or talk about her in that way. Which, first of all, whether you like her or not, that's disrespectful. But he's doing it because if you say the same thing over and over again, it registers in your brain, and all of a sudden you'll start saying it. So he's doing it on purpose. He's playing people, and you don't even realize it. You ever notice why radio stations play the same songs over and over again? And how many times you've started out with a song you don't like, but they play it so much you like it? It's programming. And the sad part is, especially the smaller amount of little people that try and insult me all the time, they're not smart enough to get that. So they will pander to the audience. So he talks about, oh, when I'm president, I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And they'll wave their flags and they'll cheer, and they won't stop and think, wait a minute. That's not really how this process works, because only a dictator can change anything on his own. Because if he wants to pass a law that says we're going to slaughter all children, well, I seriously doubt that will pass through the House and the Senate. So it doesn't matter what he says. And he says he's going to create bills. That's wonderful. Will the bills pass that he wants? But people don't want to talk about this stuff. They want to cheer the fact. And yes, like I said, I will give him credit. He is talking about the corruption in government like I've never heard before. He's talking about the corruption and the manipulation in the media, which I've been saying for years and got laughed at for being paranoid and wearing tinfoil hats. But yet, now all of a sudden somebody like Donald Trump says it, now it must be true. So if you look at both sides, instead of looking at one side, because again, that's nothing more than divide and conquer, you will see that the Republicans' main goal was basing things on fear. How all of a sudden there's 200,000 people coming in and they could be ISIS, and Donald Trump has said this, so any one of them could be ISIS, which means they're planting on your fears, so this way you get paranoid, because fear equals control. So they talk about how the fact that we're falling apart, and yes, a lot of it is true, but they harped on it nonstop. And it's time for change, they kept saying. Make America great again. The Democrats are going to do most of their stuff, from what I've seen so far, on the race war. They're talking about the other end of the spectrum, and they're using little children as examples, which Hitler loved to do. You'd see many pictures of Hitler standing next to the children. And that's one of the reasons why Hitler created the first gun registration. So, gotta save the children. Make sure you take advantage of an opportunity. And even the Republicans did the same thing with some of the mother of one of the people who died in Benghazi. You know how difficult that must have been for that woman if it happened the way they say? If it's not a crisis actor, if it, let's just say, honestly, it's 100% it happened the way it said, to put that poor mother up on that stage so they can take advantage of her pain and suffering to make a point. It's pretty crappy if you ask me, but people will cheer, they'll cry, they'll shed the tears, they'll say, oh, they have feelings. Because remember, as good as people want to think Donald Trump is, he's been playing the system. He talks about lobbyists, but he also admits at the same time he's used them. So he's used the system. So let's keep it real. And it's so sad how easily people can be manipulated. You tell them what they want to hear, they will wave their flags, they will listen to everything without saying, wait a minute, let me question what you just spoke about. They don't want to do that. They like being pandered. They like their egos being stroked. They're reading from scripts that somebody else wrote for them. They are getting you to never say, let's think of all possibilities. Let's all work together. They say, no, our side's right and their side's wrong. And that's on both sides. You know, Donald Trump is talking about building an army. Sounds good until you realize that that army could be turned against you. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but that is a possibility. I mean, there have been countries throughout the history that they've built up massive armies that created mass genocide. Like they say, if you don't research history, you're doomed to repeat it. And I've said before, as that wall sounds like a great idea, but remember, walls not only keep people out, it also keeps people in. Aren't you tired of being pandered to? Aren't you tired of the scripts? Aren't you tired of millionaires and billionaires telling you how they can relate to you? Are you tired of other people telling you how to live? We have to start getting to the point. I mean, like, yes, I am no Harvard or Yale graduate. I went as far as high school and 1 semester of college before I realized it wasn't for me. And if I was going to make it in this world, I was going to have to create my own business or do something with my imagination, which I absolutely did. Whether people believe in my orgone pyramids or my organic soap and things like that, at least I'm creating it on my own to people who want it. I have my own massage business. I have my own DJ business. I've built up my own career. I free think for myself. I speak from the heart. So yes, I'm not going to give you all the scientific breakdowns. I'm not going to have a video with all that affecting music to make you really get into the moment and all the jump cut scenes so it looks pretty because people don't have an attention span anymore. I don't want the people that have a 2-minute attention span. I want the people that will listen to a 6-hour video because it meant something that could help change their life for the better. To err is to be human. People make mistakes, but let me tell you something. I speak from the heart. I don't have a script. I don't have a cue card. I'm not having somebody else write my things. I'm not pandering to my audience. If you don't like what I have to say, hit the unsubscribe button. You will not be missed. I get the people that accuse me all the time of all of a sudden, you know, you're doing this for the views. I don't give a damn about the views. I want views because it means more and more people are starting to get it. They're tired of the BS. They're tired of being pandered to. They're tired of year after year of them pandering to you and lying to you and not changing anything. Because another thing the Democrats have been talking about is using solar power and wind energy. Well, if you go back to all the way back to the days of after World War II, they've been talking about alternative power since then. Where is it? They'll talk about it. They'll research it. They'll really tell you all the things you want to hear. But do you see any solar-powered cars? And if there are they affordable to the point where you could get one? Because remember, according to the politicians, you're the regular people, the common people, instead of realizing that everybody is the same. Black lives matter, white lives matter, yellow lives matter, red lives matter, purple lives matter, all lives matter. But you notice neither side will talk about the Federal Reserve and how we need to abolish the Federal Reserve, which is creating most of our taxes, most of our stealing of wealth, because it makes them lots of money to not talk about that. Here's a simple solution that I'm sure almost every single American would be on board with. You abolish the Federal Reserve, you have your own country create its own currency, which means you don't have to pay back any interest, which means that we don't have to pay it. I guarantee you everybody be cheering. Which side is talking about that, ladies and gentlemen? if you're a Republican, you're going to listen to only what the Republicans say, and you're going to agree with everything the Republicans say, and you're not even going to question anything. That's a follower. If you're a Democrat, you're going to do the same thing on your side. Don't say you want change if all you're going to do is listen to one part of a story and one side and think your side is 100% right, because then you're just fooling yourself and you're being fooled. And like Ben Kenobi once said, and yes, I'm going to quote a Star Wars reference because it makes perfect sense, and I love this quote: who's more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him or her? And I get attacked because I think outside the box, because I don't want division. I want unity. I want common sense. Show me which president electing or any of the people that were lined up ready to serve you. I find that so funny. That talked about the Federal Reserve even once. Talk about the collapse. Talk about the fact that they'll talk about, oh, we're in a recession. Oh, things are bad and I'm going to fix it. Well, abolish the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a private-owned bank owned by shareholders, which most of them are the people we bailed out in 2008. We bailed out. Your taxes that some of you are so proud to pay don't realize it's just a nice word for stealing your money. You must like it, because no one questions any of the politicians. Show me one news media outlet that ever gave one of these questions to the president. I would love to speak to Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton and ask them that question. You know what? They'll never answer me, but why not? Aren't I one of the common people, one of the regular people, the people they're trying to help? Well then, Donald Trump. Well then, Hillary Clinton. Let's do a little live debate. Let's see if you can handle that without any script. They won't. They can't, because then they'll be called out for their bluff. And people at the sleeping masses, not even the sleeping masses, the willfully ignorant people will learn about the truth that they want to ignore. But they'll get you on the emotional stuff. Make sure you bring out a little Spanish girl that's afraid to be deported. You want to make sure you exploit that. Make sure you exploit the mother of a person that supposedly had their child killed in Benghazi. Let's take advantage of their pain. And I give no credit to that woman to go up there and speak about that. That would actually allow a convention to use her pain to get votes. Think about that. It's disgusting. But we'll wave our flags. We'll have that patriotism, that nationalism. And that's what every evil leader throughout history has done. Get the people to wave the flags until one point that's all they have left. Because when you have the guns facing your face, that flag ain't going to do shit for you. I don't understand how people don't get it at this point. And I've had people insult me and attack me and all this other stuff. Where is their solutions? Where are their ideas? You don't see them because they're not capable of that kind of thought. They're incapable of it. They're very good at rank outs and bringing things up from 2012 because that's all they got. But where is their inspiration? Where is their wisdom? Where is their point of view other than hate? It takes intelligence and wisdom to be able to speak your mind freely without fear. People, we're reaching that boiling point. It could be good, it could be bad. People got to stop being silent. And I was encouraged at the booze that people are saying, we're not going to take it anymore. The only way you're going to disrupt and change the system is being a part of it, and stop pandering and stop just saying, oh, well, I believe in this side, so that person's going to be 100% right. So whether you love Hillary or you love Trump, neither one of them are going to give two shits about you if you die in some war that they send you over to so they could profit off of you. Because even Donald Trump has admitted wars are profit. Wars are expensive. They love wars because it's chess. They are the kings and queens. You are the pawns, and they will make you wave your flags and think you're doing something to protect country and man when all you're doing is stealing the wealth of somebody else to bring it to those people so they can dump you when you are no longer useful. So all those proud veterans who are out there, you've been used and your friends and family and co-workers or whatever have died so others can walk around in nice fancy suits and collect more paper currency. You've exchanged blood for paper. And we've murdered how many millions of people, which, by the way, if they're not part of it and they were caught in the crossfire, we just give them a lovely name called collateral damage, because it sounds nicer, because we wouldn't want people to be in touch with reality that millions of innocent lives have been extinguished based on greed and the inability to communicate like brothers and sisters that we should be. And you have the hypocrisy of the religious people that are wishing hatred on people, that are blowing up abortion clinics, that have had the Crusades and many millions of deaths. Anyone ever remember the Spanish Inquisition? That was done by religion. The hypocrisy grows strong in this world, and it hasn't changed and it won't change, because there are people like me that try and use common sense, that speak from the heart, that view all sides. And we're the crazy ones. We're the tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists, because God forbid you don't fall in line with the system. There's something wrong with you. You're not allowed to have free thought. Not allowed to think on your own. You're not allowed to create your own ideas. Just do what we say, or we'll mock you, we'll attack you, we'll gang up on you. Bring them all on. Like I've said before, true strength is not being in a crowd of people that are on your side. It's being able to stand up on your own and not being afraid of what's coming. It's a true test of your own character. Will you bend? Will you break? Or will you stand tall? And I challenge anybody that's listening. So for me, 30 views, that's a Christmas miracle. Oh, wait, I don't know. Can't say Christmas. See how ridiculous this world is getting? To the point where you can't even wish somebody Merry Christmas without somebody getting offended. If you're getting offended because I'm wishing you some kind of positive message, there's something wrong with you. People are too offended these days. And one day, your speech will be taken away. You'll be told what you can and cannot say. And you think that's funny? Look at the freedoms that we've lost since just 9/11 alone. Right now, this live show is being listened to, either now or in the future, by some trader who sold out the American people for whatever currency they have in their pocket. So fuck them if they're listening. Your cell phones, they can listen to at any time. They could take your emails and read them. And if it's anything like what supposedly Hillary Clinton had, yours won't be deleted, and you'll definitely go to jail if you do something wrong. But if you're part of the elite group, different rules are applied to them. They'll always make excuses, because when you're a part of a gang, you don't arrest your own. You'll say good things in front of the camera. Aren't we tired of it yet? And I'm so proud of the people that we're booing, that we're tired of the same old, same old. I am. How can you have any respect for Bernie Sanders? First of all, he didn't seem to have a problem with investigating with, what was it? The whole thing with Donald Trump's wife. Got to look into that whole plagiarism. The media went all into that. Is the media killing Hillary for her emails, the 30,000 emails she deleted, and the fact that even the FBI said that she was wrong? And this is the person you want to lead? And then you have on the other end of the spectrum a billionaire who knows how to use the system to his advantage just because he talks differently. I'll respect that, but I want to see the whole thing. I want to listen to all points, not just the ones that make me feel good. When they want to build a wall, I ask, well, does it keep us in? He wants to build an army. What is that army going to be used for? Because you notice most of our army is not here in the United States. They're always talking about defense. Well, if you play a video game called, let's say, Castle Defense, and your video game is you have to defend your castle, where do you want your troops to be? You want them to be at the castle. Where's most of our army? Most of our army is in Syria, in South Asia, in Europe, in Africa. They're all over the place. Is that defense or offense? And we spend all our time policing the world, and you wonder why so many countries hate us. If China built military bases in this country, I guarantee you people would not like it. But why, again, is it okay for us to do it? Do people not see the hypocrisy? Does somebody like me who has a high school education have to point this out to people that have Harvard scholarships, who are a lot smarter than me as far as regurgitating what you've been programmed? And that's why I still stand with my videos I made the other day. You don't like them? That's fine. I'm not here to get you to like the truth. Because like they say, truth is stranger than fiction. And I could be 100% wrong. And if somebody could prove it by being respectful and showing me actual proof and not just regurgitating a bunch of numbers, I'll be happy to listen. And if I'm wrong, I'll change it. That's the beautiful thing about a belief. You can always change a belief. But do it for the right reasons, not because I'm not going to change it because all of a sudden I got people attacking me and making fun of me because of what I thought about. I'm not going to, oh my God, I got to cave in because I got to make sure I pander to my audience. Screw them. I'm my own person. You will either resonate with what I show and talk about, or you will not. But I will never change my ideals because I've been pressured by somebody. Like I've said before in the past, I've gotten death threats. That's not going to stop me. It's not going to change it. But yet, look at a politician. Look at the TPP thing with Hillary Clinton. First, she was for it, and then when she realized the heat was on and she wasn't going to be able to debate Trump with it, all of a sudden she was against it. And she'll change it, and that's what they do. They change all the time. Once they get your votes, they're back to the regular thing. And then when the camera's on, they'll say, oh, we're working on it, or, oh, I'm sorry. Or they'll justify, which people always do. They justify what they do. So it makes them sleep better at night. You could justify any lie. You could make any situation into something different if you make it sound convincing enough. Doesn't make it the truth. So, again, we're reaching that boiling point, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy the ride. Because you're seeing, even in Russia, they're bombing Syria, supposedly. Whether it's true or not, who knows? I'm not in Syria. I don't live in Russia. I don't know what they're doing. I can only go by what the media says, and their track record is not exactly close to 100% honest. But let's say it is. We're not doing anything about it. That's going to lead to some tension. And there's going to be a lot of problems, but I'll guarantee you this. None of those problems will ever come to me. Keep going to those riots and those protests and watch it get violent and wonder why you might have accidentally gotten shot or beaten or hit or arrested or pepper sprayed or who knows. You'll never see me at one because they don't work. Have somebody repeatedly punching you in the face and hold up a picket sign about how unfair it is and see how much that changes a damn thing. But it'll make you feel good, make you feel part of the system, because that's what really people want. They don't want real change because that requires effort. You just want to fall in with line. You want to stand up for what you believe in, as long as other people believe it too. It's embarrassing. Speak your words. Stop being afraid. And stop listening to just one side over the other. Listen to all things, and don't be afraid to question things that you're not sure of. If you're just sitting there listening to some speech and you're doing nothing but waving your flags and saying, oh, I believe in everything they say, no matter what they say, guess what? Congratulations, you're programmed. You're being used and manipulated. You don't realize it. This country has been around for hundreds of years now. Are we closer to a better world or getting further from a better world? But every 4 years, there'll be a new set of people telling you how they're going to make it great again, how they're going to give you all the things that you want. Say it year in and year out. Where is it? There's a huge difference between promises and delivering of those promises. There's too much hypocrisy that we seem to keep giving them pass after pass. Oh, this time it's different. Trump is going to be different, right? People will always find out the hard way. You cannot change a corrupt system. You have to end that corrupt system before you could make real change, positive change, not just change. Because again, when somebody says they're going to create change, what change are they talking about? Good or bad? So, as usual, I'll get a few supporting comments, which I always appreciate. I'll get the few little people that make up their fake troll accounts so they could say something stupid, which never gets seen the light of day. because I guess that makes them feel better. But overall, my words will not change anybody, but it changes me, and that's all that ultimately matters. If it changes anybody else, that's great. If it helped change your mind to let go of some of the fear and actually listen to all things and not be afraid to question, that's a pretty damn good thing. But most people won't care. They'll keep waving their flags. They'll keep listening to the mainstream media. They'll keep allowing this to continue onward and onward as long as they make a little bit of that fiat currency, that paper dollar, and the hypocrisy of the people that say they're religious. They'll keep hating on people that don't have their belief system. It's so ironic. You think about religion, it's supposed to be about love. Honor thy father, honor thy neighbor, peace. And yet, they're one of the biggest hating groups that I've ever seen. Well, unless you follow their belief system, but then they'll hate on the other religions. So people cannot see the hypocrisy, and yet people like me who question it, we're the crazy ones. I'll tell you this, if my choice is to wear a tinfoil hat and be real and see all sides and see things for what they really are, and being a person that wears a suit that conforms and does everything they're told and believes everything they're programmed and has to join a group because they need somebody else to speak and think for them, I'll wear the tinfoil hat proudly. So that's all I'm going to say. I appreciate those who listen. I appreciate those who have an open mind. I have appreciation for people who can question. I could give a damn about the people that are anonymously making stupid comments because they jerk off to it or something. They must get off on it first, because with people that follow me for 5 years saying the same thing over and over again, something mentally wrong with them. Even tinfoil hats wouldn't save them. So I am never going to pander to my audience. I am never going to say all the things you want to hear. I am never going to read from some script that somebody else wrote me. I'm going to speak from the heart. I'm going to speak from my mind. I'm going to speak from my own belief system. I will keep it whether everybody hates it or not. And you could like it, or you could not like it. But at least I give you that choice. Maybe we need more like people like that helping to grow this country and not rule it. Because I don't need to rule over anyone. Thanks for watching.